All right, we will get started here. So what we're talking about today, of course, is LibKey Link. It's a brand new service from Third Iron, and it's really focused on adding one-click access to full text to PubMed. So during this presentation, which will probably last about 20-25 minutes, I'm going to go over the inspiration for this, why we built this, how it works, and of course give you a live demo, as well as some answer some frequently asked questions. And of course, we should have plenty of time if you have questions of your own that you want to know to learn more about LibKey Link. I'm also going to be recording this session as well, and I'll send you a copy of this recording in the next few days. So first, if you're new to Third Iron, as I know some people on the call are, just to let you know that we do serve over 700 institutions across 30 different countries, and that's in all markets. That's focused primarily on our Browsine product because that's one we've had for about 8 years now. But LibKey is of course the fast-growing #2 in all of these different regions and verticals. Browsing, which I want to talk about just for a moment, because it actually feeds into why we built LibKey. If you're not familiar with it, is a system that is focused on a consistent presentation of journals that you have subscribed at your institution. And it really facilitates a nice transition between searching tools like PubMed or Primo and Summon to a browsing system. And it's really designed with the idea of trying to minimize clicks, making it very simple to get to that content, and making it something that's easy to administer, that it doesn't become this big burden for a library to take it on. My background is in electronic resource librarianship. And since I started my career in libraries, this has always been something that myself and colleagues who started Third Iron were very interested in, is trying to create the simplicity of print, but do it in the electronic age. And that's what Browsine was really designed to do. And if you're not familiar with this simplicity I'm talking about, inside of Browsine, we have this mechanism where you could browse for journals and see them in a very graphical manner. You can click into a particular journal, see a consistent table of contents, and then in one more click, get over to the full text PDF directly on the publisher's site for many of the sources. And that simplicity of here's a journal I'm interested in, here's an article I'm interested in, show me the article, is something that we were really interested in creating with Browsine. But we found that after we built that for Browsine, this particular interaction where you go from the article that you're interested in directly to the content was actually a very novel thing that we were doing, because so many other systems we use in libraries have many other layers there, whether that's link resolvers or authentication tools or navigating publisher websites and figuring out sources and all that kind of stuff. Those are all necessary evils of the way that libraries are built nowadays, of course, and how we subscribe to content from multiple vendors and platforms. But we know that for our end users, they don't really care about that stuff. That's stuff that we as librarians have to deal with, but they're interested in this experience of trying to get right to the content. And so we realized that there's something very valuable in that particular interaction that we did just in the course of building the larger Browsine ecosystem. And we call that piece of technology LibKey. And so that's how the LibKey sort of idea was born, to take that out of Browsine and use it in other systems as well. So how does it work? Well, it's actually fairly sophisticated behind the scenes. We take a combination of article metadata, which is available, of course, from publishers, and that's down to linking data and bibliographic data and so on. Entitlements data, which we get from you all by working with your respective link resolver vendors and so on, whether that's Alma or Serial Solutions or SFX or EBSCO and so on. And then also understanding how does your library authenticate its users to content, whether that's on-site only, or maybe a VPN system that has to be activated, or Open Athens, or a proxy server, and so on. And then we can take all of that information and extremely quickly, meaning fractions of a second, we can compute that and create a link that goes right from a DOI or a PMID, in the case of PubMed, of interest directly to the PDF content. And that's really what we're focused on with the LibKey experience. So our kind of strategic direction, how this all kind of fits together then, is that back when we started this company back in 2011, we focused on a product called Browsine then that we were trying to build and released initially in 2012, designed to be the world's best journal engagement tool. Try to make that nice complement to the search and discovery systems out there. And we've been evolving that for a number of years. And it wasn't until 2017 where we started figuring out that, hey, we should externalize this. We should build an API suite so that this could be used in other systems. The first one to do that, which I'll touch on briefly, was actually, we call it LibKey Discovery, and that's for use in commercial discovery systems like Primo and Summon and EDS and so on. But going into this year, kind of our strategy is ubiquity, trying to take this LibKey technology and get it into as many different systems as possible. And so PubMed is definitely the number one that we're using that for. This is what LibKey Discovery looks like. So if you are also a library that's using Primo or Summon or ADS and so on, in addition to LibKey Link, you would be really interested in using the LibKey Discovery service as well. Because of the nature of these discovery systems, they're able to incorporate even more elements than we can do in LibKey Link, including cover image data, articles in context, where you can see an article with one click and get to its context within Browsine, as well as the LibKey Direct PDF, which forms the core of the LibKey Link experience in PubMed. Here's just a quick overview of some different renderings for different platforms. You can see we try and make it look very organic, like it was always meant to be there, whether it's in Primo or Summon or ADS and so on. So very much adopting the style that occurs in those systems. And this is set up by the library, and users don't have to do anything else. There's no plugins to install. There's no configurations they have to do. This is just immediately available to all your users, where they see those cover images for fast recognition of sources. They see the download PDF, so they have one click to go right to content, and they've got that browse now or view issue contents to see the article in context. We also decided to kind of sell our products slightly differently as well. So if you're coming to this webinar because you heard about LibKey Link and you were thinking, well, that's really interesting, that got me initially interested in what Third Iron's up to. LibKey Link then forms a larger LibKey Suite, and that encompasses the LibKey Discovery, which is what I was just showing you, LibKey Link, which is what we'll focus on next, and then also two products that are coming out later this year, which is LibKey Nomad, which is coming out this summer, which is a browser extension, and we call it Nomad, of course, because these are users not really working in the traditional sort of library resources and library portals, but they're still researchers at your institution that we want to support, but they're running off to Google Scholar and they're doing kind of their own thing. And we want to make sure we can connect them properly and legally to content that you subscribe to, or to your document delivery or ILL systems and so forth when they stumble upon content. And then finally, we have the LibKey.io service coming out much later this year, which is really kind of a very lofty goal, looking to be the new standard in scholarly linking. It is DOI based, but unlike DOIs, it also encompasses a library's authentication and a library's entitlements data into the link. So you can have one consistent link structure that's very easy to use, that someone at Brown University could pass to their colleague at Harvard, and because they have different holdings, different entitlements and everything, all that gets sorted out on the back end by LibKey, and each of those respective users gets access to the content in their own way, completely legally. So a really nice, I think, improvement on the nature of scholarly communication. And then you can see Browsine is a separate resource. It's a totally kind of independent product. And we also offer Third Iron Complete, which encompasses all the services we have here today. If you're coming to this webinar and you already are subscribing to Browsine, for example, and started that before the end of last year, you actually automatically got upgraded to Third Iron Complete, and everything I'm talking about today is completely included with your subscription. So there's nothing else to pay for, nothing else to subscribe to. So LibKey Suite is now part of your subscription. So let's get into the details with LibKey Link. So we built LibKey Link because we talked to a number of hospitals as well as medical universities, medical libraries, and so on, who said, they really liked what we were doing with LibKey Discovery, but they don't really use a discovery service. They don't have EDS or Primo or Summon, because they really try and direct their users to PubMed, obviously the world standard for a fantastic medical search system. And so they were wondering though, they have various gripes with the way that their users sometimes can get confused in PubMed, or it takes too much time and so on. And what could LibKey do inside of PubMed? And so that's what this is about. So here I'm describing kind of the very typical PubMed workflow. If you've used PubMed before, you're of course very familiar with this. You've got a citation here. You can see I've got this get article link in here. I'm borrowing Cleveland Clinic's icon just for this demonstration. But of course, that would be custom to your institution if you're using the OToole style linking. So that appears on every single article. When I click on that, that goes to my link resolver. Cleveland Clinic happens to use EBSCO's full text finder, and you can see there's a bunch of different sources for this particular article that the user is interested in. And of course, that sometimes can have one option, it can have no options, it can have 15 options, really depends on the library's collection and a lot of different things. But there's all kinds of research and evidence pointing to having these various choices can be quite confusing for users or clinicians who are very focused on their discipline and not understanding what OhioLink is, for example, here, or the difference between Science Direct and Clinical Key, and all these things. They just want to get to the content. But hopefully the user can navigate this and they make the right choice. And if they do, they're going to get to usually a publisher page, maybe like this. And that's going to be different depending on the choice they made at the link resolver, which means that they may be at something very familiar and maybe at something they've never seen before. But in any way you slice it, they're still kind of trying to look for the paper. So hopefully they're kind of scanning around looking for, in this case, there's a PDF icon. Sometimes there's something that says download PDF. Sometimes it's another tab. It's all over the place. So again, they have to navigate this, understand these pages, and see them. And then, hooray, we finally get through there and we get to the paper we were looking for back when we thought we would get it when we clicked that button at the citation stage, right? Because of course, the citation we're seeing on the publisher page is the same citation I'm seeing at the citation page. So it seems like we're kind of going in a circle, and that's how clinicians often feel. So what we can do with LibKey Link then is that LibKey actually creates this accelerated expressway to the PDF. And we do that by replacing the link that is used in the outside tool inside of PubMed with a special link that is run by us that has a libkey.io domain. What happens is every single article gets first pushed over to LibKey, and there's no interface for this, I should note. This is all kind of invisible, behind the scenes, fractions of a second. And what we do is we use that LibKey process I described earlier to extremely quickly calculate, can we create a direct link to PDF at the publisher site for this article? And we're, of course, doing that based on the entitlements data that is provided to us from the link resolver, understanding your authentication mechanisms and so on, and how to build these links. And so we make this very quick determination, yes, we can, or no, we can't. And if the answer is yes, we can, then zoom right off to the PDF we go. Of course, LibKey is also open access or subscribed status aware. So we know if the journal happens to be open access. Epidemics happens to be open access. So if that were to happen, we would not even stop to prompt you to log in to your proxy server, for example, because there's no need, right? We know that it's open access, we can go right to the publisher. If we know the journal's subscribed, however, we will usually then, of course, prompt you to sign in, depending on your authentication mechanism. And we would present that for the user. So it's a very, very fast, very streamlined, kind of priority lane to get to PDF. But again, if we can't do it for some reason, maybe it's at a platform we don't yet support this technology with. Maybe it's something that for whatever reason, we don't have that PMID on our systems for whatever reason, we always fail back to the existing link resolver link. So anytime we can't do this, the user sees the experience they've seen for many years, which is they see the link resolver. So there's not, I guess, incurred risk, if you will, by introducing this. Basically, the worst case scenario is the existing scenario, which is a pretty good place to be. And then, of course, in all other scenarios, it's a greatly enhanced system. So if we can provide the PDF, instead of all this kind of 4 different screens you see, it now kind of feels like this. I go get article, and then boom, there's the article. So super nice, super simple, really easy to navigate, and actually really meets user expectations. So how is this configured? This does use the OToole configuration, the outside tool within the link out. Some of you may be using the kind of manual upload process for holdings data, usually called link out via submission tool. That is not supported by LibKey Link, so you do need to transition over to OToole with your link resolver. You may be aware that PubMed is actually enforcing that, so they are going to be decommissioning that link out with submission tool over the next many months. So certainly right now is a great time to transition to OToole and activate LibKey Link at the same time. But that's all it is. You just need to put your link right there. You need to register, of course, with us first, and we provide a custom URL for you to use in that base URL space. The platform support is very broad, supports all the largest publishers today. There's a couple of kind of key medical ones like JAMA and Cambridge and Pediatrics that will be coming online within the first half here. And there's a couple of other ones like Clinical Key and EBSCO. Basically, these are all aggregators that have various elements that need to be kind of sorted out. We're working with all of these vendors to try to provide support as well, but I don't have a firm date on their support just yet. Couple of frequently asked questions we've learned that people are curious about since we launched. Does this only work with OToole? What about link out? I actually just talked about that, but we do only support OToole, so you will need to be using that. Certainly, if you're using the other tool and you're not quite sure how to get started with it, certainly contact us, support@thirdiron.com, and we can direct you to the proper resources. Can I use my own icon? Absolutely. LibKey actually doesn't do anything with your icon. So your icon is actually a separate setup within the PubMed admin, and we're just affecting the link behind the icon. So we're not forcing you to use a certain icon, and it doesn't actually affect it unless you want it to. What happens if LibKey can't produce the PDF? So as I mentioned with that flow chart here, if we cannot get the PDF for whatever reason, we will always fall back to your link resolver. So in this other screen, if you said, oh, they don't have JAMA, I don't know, kind of a thing, don't worry, because if a JAMA article comes up, we'll go to your link resolver, no problem. When we support JAMA, we will automatically then start linking directly to that PDF. So there's really no kind of risk there from the user perspective of how this all works. And then fourth, how do I learn about next steps? Well, that really depends on where you're at with your subscription to Third Iron services. If you are already using Third Iron services, you can just register to get your LibKey link and get started. It's a very easy process to do that. If you're brand new to us, certainly the resource I would want to share with you, which I'm going to flip over here and show you in my browser, is off of the Third Iron webpage at thirdiron.com. Up here, we've got the LibKey link under our products. And this page here describes everything you need to know about how this works. You can even see a live demo of this working right here. And within the information here, you can see that there's a setting up with a simple form. So you can just click into this and get registered. So just a couple of questions we have for you to collect the right information. If you're new to working with us, of course, feel free to contact us, and our sales folks can reach out to you and let you know about all the different services we have, and set you up for a technical evaluation if you'd like, and so on. So those are the different options there. I also wanted to show you a live demo because we, of course, have this live in the wild. The University of Texas's dental institution or dental school has kindly given me permission to use their OToole to show you some different examples. So I'm using their OToole. You can see there with their abbreviation. So here we are at a kind of typical PubMed entry here. You can see that they've got their link for everything. I'm using an open access article here for this quick demonstration. So this is using their OToole icon. When I click on this, you can see that very briefly, LibKey says I'm locating the article, and bam, got right to the PDF. So really nice, very simple, one click, and that's the same experience you would see if it was a subscribed content. Now, if I try and do this with something that is subscribed, you can see I'm here, different article. I click over here, LibKey looks for the article and says, yes, you've subscribed, but it knows it's not open access. So I would need to log into my proxy server first to get access to the PDF. Now I don't have credentials to the School of Dentistry here, so I can't log in to show you, but of course the experience would be the same as what I just showed you with the open access. Now let's try a third example. This is one that I looked up that I knew ahead of time that they do not have access to. They're a dental school, and this is ankle surgery, so that all kind of makes sense. But of course, here's their link right over here. So let me click through that, and you can see right away with no delay, it pushes us right off to the Primo system. And Primo says, oh yeah, we don't have this, but here's your options for searching other systems to get access to this. Obviously, this landing page is completely custom to your institution. This may be EBSCO Full Text Finder, maybe SFX, maybe Primo. All that, of course, is custom to you, but you are providing that link to us ahead of time, so everything is configured and working exactly the way that you would like it to. All right. I'm going to flip back over here to our slides just to wrap up. There we go. So just in summary, LibKey Link is really designed to remove source confusion. It minimizes inefficiencies, including waiting for pages to load, hunting for PDFs, and really saving the user's time. It's a simple one-time setup. You simply replace the link resolver URL after submitting the form to us, and you're off and running. If you haven't worked with us before, we also work, of course, with your link resolver vendor, who automatically pushes updates in your holdings data to us. So you're not managing holdings data in another system or anything like that. You continue to maintain your resources the way you always have. So with that, I'm happy to see if there's any questions that you might have in the text box. Feel free to type something in there, and I'm happy to answer any questions that I didn't answer here.